Flux.
Alright guys, we're back. Got 2 more teams. I need to adjust the title here. So we got okay, so boom.
The Legion, a team is just a mix of players. It's just a mixed scrim, so they don't really have a name.
I'm just gonna go with the 0527. I don't know what that stands for, but that's what it's gonna be.
There's actually a backstory behind it. So their clan name is called the Beginning of the End, and that's basically the date where the Latin Hong client merged with the US and European.
That's such a good name.
Yeah.
That's such a good name. I love it.
So the bands here, they're pretty straightforward. Moira, Midas, Behemoth, and Parasite. And then the Legion team had picked up Flux, and the Hellborn team had picked up the Warbeast. But the Warbeast, I really like. I think right now he's really strong in this meta. I think he's actually a first tier ban worthy hero. So, so yeah, it's either you ban it or you pick it up. That's what I think. The Hag pick, it's not bad. Hag has been on and off in the Han meta for a long time. In this meta, I don't think he's being used as much. Just because he doesn't really have a lot of teamfight presence. In terms of like slows, stuns, all he has is his haunt and his ultimate for slow. But it looks like the Legion team is running a huge wombo combo draft. So
I still think he's one of the hardest late game carries.
Hardest late game carries, I would say, is like a Dark Lady or Clanks.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But what I'm saying is, I think Hag is definitely in that upper tier. I mean, if you get items on her, like a Grimoire and a Frostwolf Skull and a Hellflower, she can right-click with the best of them. And she has the mobility factor that a lot of those other heroes... Well, I mean, I guess all those other heroes still have a mobility factor, but, you know, you're sort of limited to, like, with a Dark Lady, you're limited to wherever the charging strikes can take you, or the Clanks, you know, whenever you hawk, you're going. You can be visually seen as to where you're going to be going. And with the Hag, you know, you have a mobility factor that's even better than both of them. So I don't, you know, they might not play her in that role. They might play her in a suicide role, which she's still a great suicide hero. There's no doubt about that. But I don't know. I definitely agree with you that Warbeast is in the current meta is, you know, either a ban or a pick, top ban, top pick. We saw that earlier today in the Deadeye Bounty League. I think Sync ended up winning that last game. That it was like an insta pick for Insania. That whenever it went unbanned, he immediately picked it up. What was it? After a Moira pick from Druids. But regardless, I was talking to you a little bit earlier about that. The viable Warbeast build of a Whispering Helm Refresher. And creating a giant hard-hitting, tower-destroying army.
I agree, it's really strong. But looking back at the drafts,
you don't think we're going to see that in this game?
No.
Oh, it's upsetting.
I wish, but it is a scrim, so I assume that the Helper team is trying really hard. But looking at the picks, the Legion team had picked up a Tempest, and the Hellborn team had picked up Andromeda. So Tempest is once again used in that huge wombo combo type of team play, and the Andro is used as counter because his ulti is superior magic, so he can easily counter his ulti.
Oh, does it go through Shrunken Head?
It does, yes.
I didn't know that.
Balphagore.
Superior magic, yes, it does.
See, I don't, you know, when I hover over the hero, I don't actually see target an ally or enemy here to swap positions with it, grants Andromeda. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, that's pretty great, unless she gets caught in the ulti. But it's all dependent upon how she's going to play.
Yeah.
You know?
So, but but her whole role is just based on stopping the Tempest ultimates. That's all her role is. That's the main reason why she's picked up. So like, if you're always in there with everyone else, and then Flux ults and then the Tempest ults on top of that, then you're basically screwed. So like, you gotta be way in the back of team fights. So then, when Flux uses his ult, and then the Tempest uses his ult on top of that, that you're in range of the ulti. But yeah, it'll be an interesting thing because the Legion team have picked up Balphagore. So they're going to, for a huge wombo, humbo, push R button, and they all die. So this will be interesting.
Ridiculous. I mean, the timing is going to be so interesting because obviously every one of these heroes, with the exception of Hag, benefits from a portal key. I saw that in a TMM game with you the other night when we saw the Balphagore. Almost 800 GPM with a PK.
Let's get
But, that was game.
You know, the timing is, you know, if you blink, you get the Flux ulti, follow it with the Behemoth, or even better yet, follow it with the Tempest, then the Behemoth, and then just for the sheer shits and giggles, popping that Balphagore ulti. And I did a little bit of research because I know I talked to you last night about this. We were talking about it, the damage that the Balphagore ulti does. It still works off of base charges. The big change that they made in regards to the ulti is now the minions that would spawn only with max charges spawn at all times. So an item like Frostfilled Plate is an essential item because once you ulti, if you pop Frostfilled Plate, it kills your minions and does, you know, X number of damage. So 350 magic damage per minion AoE. It's pretty ridiculous on top of the potential to do 600 initially. So a Balphagore full charge ultimate has the potential to wipe out a team almost by itself. Whenever you pair it with all the other wonderful things that we have here on the Legion team. Whoops, I need to change my overlay. You have a serious wombo combo. This is probably one of the most ridiculous wombo combo teams I've seen in a long time.
This is like an all-in wombo combo.
It is an all-in wombo combo. They have a pretty good lineup for lanes on the Hellborn team. I'm curious how they're going to lane this on the Legion team, but imagine you're going to see short lane, Warbeast, Andro, Suicide Bubbles, maybe the Doctor Repulsor mid, or we're we going to see the Warbeast in the jungle? How do you think they're going to do this? He did pick up a Guardian Ring.
I think they're going to run it. Well, they can run it a few ways. So I think they're going to run Bubbles bottom, Poly middle, and Andro and Drunken top with the Warbeast in the jungle. That's how I think they'll run it, and that's a very standard draft you'll see. If they want, well, on the Hellborn team, they basically have to dodge every team fight because if they're all fighting head on head, 5-on-5, I think it's pretty obvious that the Legion team would win by far. In this case, the Hellborn team has to always split push, trade towers, trade lanes, trade everything with this Legion team in order to actually win this game.
The one thing I do want to make note, a big difference between this game and last game is if you don't have that Drunken Master with the babysit, and he goes up against, say, a Suicide Hag or even a Balphagore. I mean, I don't know how they're going to lane this, but the Drunken Master is going to suffer a lot more than it did last game without that babysit. And that was, you know, that was a huge reason why you saw the 600 GPM or whatever the hell he finished at the very end of the game. But even in the laning phase, he was still sitting at 400 GPM just because, you know, he had that babysit the entire time. You know, pulling the lane and just boxing out the Kane that was top. If you send him solo, I don't think he's going to have that type of success that he would have had you pair him with somebody like the Andro or the Bubbles. You know, or not Bubbles, but the Poly. Like if you did a Poly support with the Drunken Master middle and you did the Warbeast top with an Andro, you just basically two sitting supports. and then essentially those two heroes could roam top rune, bottom rune. I think it would be just as effective as if they ran the Warbeast in the jungle head like straight up.
There is a lot of like an argument about this. Personally, I'd rather have Warbeast in the jungle just because you just open up more experience for your whole team. If you have two dual lanes, you basically split one lane of experience between two heroes, and all of your heroes, they won't be as far leveled as if you had a jungler. So personally, I always like running a junglers, because the only way that if you play how to put it, so like basically, okay, here goes. Okay, basically, if you're not running any jungler, then your supports must roam and actually have kills in order for them to keep up with the enemy jungler. If they roam but aren't getting kills, they're basically they're more or less useless because they don't have gold, they don't have any levels, and they'll be low levels in their early and mid game, and then when they want to push or have a team fight, they're more or less useless because they don't have levels, because they didn't have any chances to actually gank and get kills.
So one thing that I'm surprised that the Hellborn team didn't try to do is block some of these camps for Tempest. It looks like Bubbles did put up a decent sight ward for himself in the bottom lane, but I don't know. If I was the Hellborn team, I would have grouped just 5 and at least try to put down 1 or 2. At least get them to try to expend 100 gold on countering it.
Against Tempest, I mean, it isn't a huge deal because he can work off of any camp at level 1. So, like, even if you ward his small camp and medium camp, he can easily work off the hard camps and still have reasonable farm in the forest. So
it looks like they're sending the Andro top, and we're gonna see Pollywog Priest middle by himself. I think this is exactly the lanes that you called, right? So we're gonna have Hellborn with the Warbeast in the jungle. Yeah, so we're going to see that baby sit top with the Andro. I don't know if he's going to be able to box out as well as the Engineer did. I think they have similar attack range, right?
The Engineer has 550 and the Andro has 450.
150 difference in damage.
A 400 range, yeah. But I think the Andro is fine for dressing up Behemoth, regardless, as long as he can stack and pull to regain lane control.
The Bubbles has to be really happy about this. I mean, they essentially gave him lane control. I mean, I know it makes it easier for the Balphagore to jungle whenever he pulls the creep wave in and just keeps taking it from camp to camp like that. But the Bubbles has lane control. The Bubbles can keep the lane here if he auto attacks correctly, which is not what you want whenever you're playing against a suicide hero. The one thing he doesn't want to do is pull it into his tower.
The only thing I want to bring up is in the picks the Hellborn team. I don't know why they didn't pick up the Vindicator, because the Legion team is a huge wombo combo lineup, and a Vindicator, you push your R and it basically stops half their ultimates.
Well, not even that. You also have the tablet too, that or whatever the hell it is, the glyph, or I don't even know what it's called.
His
on the podium.
His totem, his totem thing. So I think he could play a huge role here. I know that he's hardly ever used. But if the other team is relying heavily on their ultimates, then it's just.
Well, yeah, I would think it's a no-brainer. A lot of this stuff, the part of the Wombo combo is essentially it's 2 skills on every hero. Not so much with the Balphagore. Balphagore's click R, but the Behemoth, you ulti and stun. You ulti Fisher. You know, the Flux is you ulti and then you're using your release. The Tempest is an R, but ideally you want to try to get the Meteor down before you R. I mean, there's a lot of, like, you're correct, it is. There's a lot of combo that requires, like, you know, bang skills from the Hellborn team that if you had a hero that had a silence, it would make a huge difference. But I mean, it's all gonna be. We're gonna see how this plays out in regards to the laning phase. I mean, right off the bat, this Bubbles is doing pretty good.
Oh yeah, he's having a wonderful time right now. The only issue is that if the Legion team pushes it really early, then he can't really defend it. Like yeah, he has his Shell Surf, but it won't nuke down the creeps as fast as he'd like to have them nuke down. So in the middle lane,
is in a really shitty spot. I don't know if he's gonna get this Hag though. He might actually turn it on the Hag. One more auto attack on the Hag. Does get the kill. They're gonna get the kill on the Pollywog Priest. Maybe. Polly, is he gonna get away? Polly is gonna get away. That was really badly played. It was a good Fisher, but Hag did not need to be the person that blinked in there. She was at really low health, and she essentially suicided. So I don't know. The Legion team does have some serious pushing power in regards to the Balphagore minions and the Tempest minions. They can really take down towers pretty quick.
I think if they had picked up a Warbeast here as well, then it would just be insane. You replace either the Flux or the Hag with Warbeast.
Yeah.
And then they can push even harder. But I think that rather than having a heavy push team, they wanted a heavy combo team.
Well, on a plus note for the Hellborn team, another plus note is the Drunken Master starting out just as well as he did last game. I mean, different team, but same outcome so far. We have Drunken Master free farming at almost 400 GPM. The Andro is pulling the lane. The Behemoth, he has 5 creep kills, but he did roam to the middle lane, and they didn't get anything out of it. So that probably hurt his experience per minute there a little bit. But right now, I mean, early on we have 1,000 gold lead, 700 something experience lead on the Hellborn. I'm sorry, yeah, on the Hellborn team, and I think if they play this correctly, and I mean, it's all gonna come down to those first couple team fights, right? I mean, you're gonna see the team fight power of the Legion team is either gonna be very disheartening for the Hellborn team if they successfully pull it off, or they're gonna botch it, one of the two, and the Hellborn team's gonna roll over them from that point, because I just have a feeling that the Hellborn team, they're gonna win all these lanes. So it's all going to come up to the point where you get those items, whether it be the PKs or the mana rings or what have you, to get those pushes off to try to get the extra team gold, and then you're going to go from there. But I don't know. I mean, like I said, it's going to come down to those first couple team fights. Yeah,
once the Legion team has their ultimates, then I think that they'll all be bunched up as 5, and they're going to be pushing towers like they're pieces of twigs.
I mean, they have relatively decent counter push on the Hellborn team, and they have, I guess, okay tower push themselves with, the Warcry and the Wolves and the Pollywog wards and the Andro Aurora. But I don't know. I mean, it's going to be interesting how the Hellborn team decides to defend this stuff. Pollywog's already level 7 mid, going up against, I guess, a solo Hag. Looks like Tempest is going to try to... Okay, this is interesting. The Morph and...
Nope, just use one of the rune.
Yep. Oh, man.
I will comment that the Legion team is running a support Flux.
You noticed that.
I've never seen that work, ever. It's only... been run a few times, and I don't think it's any good. Especially since there isn't any Merrick's bounty in the tournament road.
Yeah.
The Legion have destroyed a Hellborn
Well, I mean,
tower.
I imagine they're playing it because the idea with him is you don't need him for the right click. All you need him to do is get his PK. Once he gets his PK, that's what you're using him for. You're using him for the PK ultimate, and then if he dies off, he dies off.
And,
and it's okay, that's huge.
And the
Balphagore does
Balphagore
end up getting the counter kill. What the hell on Newerth? But the Tempest and the Flux do fall in the process. And Hag is coming bottom, so we might see some additional... I don't know if she's going to die past those wards. Poly wards, whenever you're low level, they do a shit ton of damage. What do those things attack for? What is it, 75 apiece?
At level
40.
1, it's
Okay,
only
40.
40. Yeah.
But there's how many of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8?
There's enough. There's
Yeah.
enough. There's enough to actually trap a person.
Yeah, so you're getting, what, 320 auto attack damage if you get hit with all 8 of them at the same time at level 6? That's pretty absurd.
Yeah.
And the Drunken Master is diving really far for this Behemoth. That's not really a hero that you want to dive on, because he can do exactly what he just did, turn around and fisher you. The Tempest did pour top, and it looks like they're going to rinse and repeat. Imagine, get ready for this top tower. Or
So I
maybe
wouldn't
not.
be surprised if the Legion team can push all the towers by half a minute, but the half-minute mark. Because they have a very strong pushing team, and then if they all group, that there's no way that the Hellborn team, at this point in the game, can actually defend against their push.
See, and
or
that's
their team.
another thing, too, is the Balf. I mean, I don't know if he went first item Chalice or if he went Greaves. But, he did pick up the Greaves, which a lot of people don't know this about plated Greaves, but they do give you 20% base damage applied to all of your minions. So they're pushing towers. And they do end up getting the kill on Balphagore, but Hag does turn it around with the Behemoth and to get a kill on Pollywog and Andro. So, like you just said, you're going to see another tower push come out.
Yeah, the base damage thing, I didn't really know about that either until you brought it up.
Yeah, I mean it's great for if you have minions, man, pushing down towers. It's incredible. But we already see a counter
The Legion had destroyed
tower
an
kills
entire
top
Legion
lane. But
tower.
like you said before, all they got to do is rotate top, and I don't think there's really much that the Hellborn team at this point in the game could do to stop them from pushing the tower down. I mean, they could get counter kills, but I still think the tower is going to fall in the process. And ideally, at this point in the game, all they're trying to do is get those couple items out. You know, you want to get the portal key, and you want to get the mana rings, which you already see the mana ring came out on Tempest. And Balphagore will have his PK here in 40 gold if he chooses to go that path.
No, I think he is for sure. I've actually watched Floopy, person playing Balphagore right now. I've watched him play Balphagore a few times, and he builds PK as well. The build was actually pioneered by James. His in-game name is Apocalypto or something.
Okay, yeah,
so
I recognize the name Apocalypto. He does pick up the portal key, so we have what, 3 heroes top. They are gonna. So this is the only thing they can do, right? You have to basically port the entire team to defend the tower, which then sacrifices your farm in other lanes just to defend from 2 or 3 heroes. You know, essentially pushing that tower. Now the Hellhounds, they do have all 3 heroes scouted. The Tempest is going to fall from the wards. Fisher does come in to basically starve off the Balphagore from being jumped on any further. But, you know, they got a kill. They are leading in experience and gold. But I'm telling you, soon as you see these heroes get the items that they need, it can be a much different story whenever it comes to teamfight presence. Looks like they are going to push up this lane. I mean, they do have all your heroes top lane. You might as well benefit from, you know, utilizing those TPs.
The only issue is that they don't have Pollywog's wards, so this might be an issue because the Legion team's all bottom as well.
And Tempest is back up. Yep. So Hag does land a bang on the Drunken Master, burns him to about half health. Defensive Bubbles ultimate comes out. It only catches the Hag, but she does blink away. And doesn't look like anything's going to come from it. They did get an aggressive ward up here on top of whatever the hell you want to call that thing, which is pretty good. I mean, I don't know what they're going to be able to do from it. It's not like they can get any picks from it at this point. But they are sticking around, which I don't think the Legion team has any idea that they are sticking around. Pollywog is going to bottle a haste rune. He could turn this on the Hag if he wants to. Hag is by himself. But it looks like the Balphagore is going to blink in. He does use his, whatever the hell it's called, the Regurgitate. And he does have 67 charges on his ulti, 72 charges on his ulti. He can pop it. Nope.
You won't pop it.
He's not gonna pop it.
Saving it for someone very special.
Saving for someone special.
Most likely the
Pick up the PK. So. Oh man, Flux is basically dancing. Let's look at the GPM chart right now. Pollywog is leading a GPM, which is interesting. Pretty good. I mean, I guess he does have a couple of those counter kills specifically using the wards. Balphagore is leading on the Legion side, which is no surprise. I mean, I guess they can sort of shift farm now. I mean, is it a good idea to keep dumping farm onto the Balphagore, or is it something that you want to try to transition farm onto these other heroes now? You want to try to get the farm on the Tempest and try to get the farm on the Behe, or I mean, how do you play this out?
I think the only reason why Balphagore has farm is because he's pushing lanes solo. Like right now, as you see, he's pushing away while everyone else is in the forest trying to get farm or the warding and whatnot. And I wouldn't mind him actually having all the farm because he's the tankiest hero on the Legion team, and everyone else on his team, all that they need are PKs. That's all they really need. Apart from that, every other item is basically a luxury. So,
I mean, we did see a second mana ring come out. We have a mana ring on the Behe and a mana ring on the Tempest, so there will be no shortage of mana if the Wombo combo is to take place. Looks like they are going to push this bottom lane tower, but the top, the Drunken Master and the Warbeast, they're counter pushing. So I don't know, is this something that once you get this tower, do you TP and try to defend top, or you just basically trade?
At this point, you basically trade. And
well, it looks like the Hellborn team is going to pour huge bubbles ultimate, catches everybody. Tempest catches a couple in his ultimate, and
Hell on Newerth. I'm just waiting on the Hell on Newerth right now.
Well, I mean, it came out. I don't know what he hit with it. We did have 2 heroes on the Hellborn team fall. But the experience lead and the gold lead on the Hellborn team at this point is really shining through. You had level... I don't know if he hit level 11 there or he had it before the fight started. But there's a big difference in damage whenever it comes to Polywards. Yeah, 55 times 8.
So,
Yeah,
I think that last
oh, they called a vote to concede?
The last fight? Yeah, they did, but I doubt they're gonna pass it just because. But yeah, but that last team fight I feel was the team fight where if they won it, it would have been like an easy win. But if they had lost it, then they would just lose or just have less of a lead. And I think in that team fight, the Flux, he used his ultimate really early when only half of the Hellborn team was there, which meant that not all the heroes were in the same area when the Tempest had used his ultimate. So
now also the Bubbles ultimate hit all 5. You hit all 5 heroes with the Bubbles ultimate. So I mean, essentially, if you're going to try to wombo combo and you need to spread in order to do that, as the Legion team needs to spread, they need the Hellborn team to be grouped the exact opposite of the scenario that they were just in. The Bubbles sort of stopped that by himself. Pollywog does PK in. He catches the Balphagore with the tongue tied and the morph, and I think you're going to see him fall. Yep.
Massacre.
I want to see. Wait a second. I'm going to look at the damage chart here because Pollywog. Yeah, Pollywog is doing work. 26% hero damage in this game from a mid Pollywog. I feel like I'm watching No Tail from back in the day. Bet you Angry Batman's probably he's probably happy right now that
Legion Tower.
I just refer to him as No Tail.
maybe Angry Batman. Yeah.
They are really far behind in experience and gold this early on.
Yeah, well, laning phase, it was pretty hard for Legion team because they had better laning picks, and
I mean, it's at the
Remember
point
the
now
Legion
where a
team-
level
Yeah.
9 Andrea
Yeah.
just tried to man up on a Hag, and Hag had to run.
I will bring up as well that Hag only began leveling his haunt at level 10. So
Ain't nobody
his
killing
ult,
that tower but
as you
me.
know, Hag's ultimate, it's the dot is based on level of haunt on Hag, and he leveled his haunt when he hit a level 10, which meant that his ultimate, his Bat Blast, would only deal the burst damage, but not any dot damage after that. So that might have been a huge factor on why their team fights are lacking. Just because there's like a lack of damage there.
I'm trying to remember back to the beginning of the game. Did the Hag get beat that badly by the Pollywog?
The Hellborn
Or
have destroyed
was
a
it just
Legion
that
tower.
Pollywog made use of the counter kills that he got in other lanes? Like he just got another kill. What did he kill? He killed the
Killed the
Tempest.
Hag. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, killed
Tempest.
the
I think it was a mix of the Hag being outplayed, and then when he asked for help, then the gank failed.
Because I mean, the creep difference is only 20 creep kills at this point between the two heroes. You know, you're obviously a lot of that is going to be reflected in how the lanes are being pushed
The Hellborn have
beyond the
destroyed
initial
and
laning
destroyed
phase.
a Hellborn tower.
But I don't know. It just seems that this Pollywog, you know, went straight head to head against this Hag and just really outshined against him. And I think Flux is dead. Yeah, Flux is most definitely dead. So they ported back to defend the base. I don't know how the Flux got locked down because I didn't click up there, but it just seemed like he was slowed significantly, and 3 heroes jumped on him. They are chasing this Drunken Master still. I don't know if this is a great idea. Tempest has his PK up in 3 seconds, but he did pop his ulti, so I doubt they're going to be able to chase this down, because anything you direct cast on him is just going to make him run faster. Did they close the gold gap a little bit, or am I just making that up?
You're making it up.
Okay.
But I don't really know how much else I can comment on this. Like I think the game is more or less already like we already know the end result just based on the huge lead. But
I don't know if this is a troll or what, but Flux has 4 bracers.
I think he is trolling.
Hey, I mean, he benefits from the stats, there's no doubt about that. But he's not Gemini, number 1. And 4 bracers? That just seems so ridiculous. Hell, he'd have more survivability just by picking up investments as opposed to 1 of those bracers.
I think at this point he is trolling. Like, you know, I support Flux, whoever does that. Like, it's not really ideal too, so.
Balphagore's gonna fall. They really don't have anything to stop it on the Legion side. If you're gonna pull a wombo combo, this is a pretty good opportunity. They are pretty lumped up. Flux does get jumped on. Hag. Oh wow, okay, there we go.
Behemoth ultimate.
Where's the
Hella knew it! Hella knew it! There we go!
team wipe? We're gonna see a team wipe. The bubbles is here. Can they kill him? Can they kill him? Oh my god!
Watch
They team
kill.
wiped. They team wiped.
Massacre.
And the Legion
Now
puts
they're
up
gonna
a
go to
good
strat pod. They have to figure out what they're gonna do from this point. That was their opportunity. They were grouped up. I did throw my hands up in the air, guys. So if I sort of missed a little bit of that camera shot, that was entirely amateur of me. But that was pretty good. They steal the
Let's
Condor,
get it on.
number 1. And they get the team wipe. They use everything the way they should. The big issue that they have at this point is the Hellborn team. They're going to be up, most of them, in 20 seconds. The ultimates for the Hellborn, so for the Legion team, they allow the Wombo combo to work. They're all on cooldown. Every single one of them. And the only one of them that has a relatively short cooldown in a relation is Balphagore. So, Pollywog does blink in, tries to get a kill, doesn't work out. Drops the wards, so Poly wards are down. Are they going to be able to get this tower? Nope. Doesn't look like it. Fisher block to try to save, I don't know, who?
The Legion have destroyed a Hellborn
Behemoth does
tower.
fall. Okay, so, yeah, they get the tower kill. That's good. And Balphagore is going to be able to TP out by hiding in the trees. Not bad. I mean, you have a reset in what, 2 minutes? 2 minutes. That's not too bad. The experience lead vanished. I don't know if you noticed that or not. And they did force a buyback out of that Pollywog.
I was just about to bring that up.
Pollywog bought back right after the successful Wombo combo, but didn't actually use anything. You know, he didn't try to go to the Congo pit to defend or what have you. I think he was just more or less prepping for the initial push.
Yeah, I definitely think that the Legion team is back in this now. That's because of that huge team fight. If they have a few more team fights, then I think it can pull off this huge combo lineup.
So, this is just my observation. If I was playing on the Hellborn team, what I essentially would do is I wouldn't even worry about the push. I would just, okay, so hey, we got the Behemoth, he blinks in, lands a Fisher, but Bubbles lands a huge ultimate again. And Balphagore lands a pretty good big ultimate himself. He does fall in the end run, and he forces the Drunken Master to pop his Shrunken Head so he doesn't die. He does ultimately die in the end, and the only person up is the Andro. They might have this game. They just took a 2,300 experience lead. I think this Andro is dead.
Serial killer.
What is happening here?
They're falling apart. But the
Legion
point
turning
that
this
I was
around?
trying to make before this happened is I would essentially put wards up, aggressive wards for the Hellborn team, and I would just farm. I would spread out and I would farm. And the thing is, they can't hurt you as a team unless you are grouped up, because essentially if the Legion team blows their ultimate on one or just two people, that's it. You know, they don't have anything beyond that, because at that point in time they didn't have the items to back it up. Now they do get 2 kills there. The Bubbles ends up getting a double tap, which is really nice. But Pollywog is the person who did the majority of the damage there. I just have if they spread, I just have a feeling that the Legion team is going to have a hard time utilizing their ultimates the way that they want. You know, if you blow 3 ultimates on the Legion team trying to kill 1 person or 2 people, that's really the end. Especially if you're using something like the Behemoth ultimate, which has a longer cooldown, the Tempest ultimate, or you know, the Flux the Hag ultimate. Those all have relatively long cooldowns.
I agree. Sorry, I'm just reading the chat right now. What's happening? But what's this Warbeast doing here?
He's dying. Regurgitate, full duration regurgitate. Ultimate comes out from Balphagore there. Dead Warbeast. He does end up going the puzzle box, so I mean he has that going for him.
I like the Warbeast actually building the puzzle box on his hero. The reason being is because, you know, the Legion team is a heavy AoE team, and of course, you know, everyone loves that the purple minion that whoever kills it, it'll do like absurd amounts of damage to him. So whoever kills the purple minion will be in for a surprise.
So there's a plus and a minus to that. Okay, so if you have a Warbeast that pops the puzzle box around, okay, we got some action going on here in the middle. Bubbles just blink in, lands a silence on 2, and they're just gonna fall back. But Warbeast pops the puzzle box near the Balphagore, that adds charges. The Warbeast pops the puzzle box near the Behemoth, that adds 2 more targets for the ultimate to amplify damage. So, like I said, there is a plus and a minus to both these. Andro, hey, she's just saying, fuck it, I'm gonna push the top lane myself. You guys deal with my team. I'm gonna do some damage to the tower. Is she gonna get out? I don't think so. No, she's not getting out. She's just trying to delay as much as she can. She's dead.
It's making space, as they call
Yep.
it.
She knew she was dead. Hey, she got the tower to half life. Not bad for a solo Andromeda pushing a top lane. The gold is even. So I mean the Legion team, they have that going for them because at one point in time it was what, 15K? That's
Around
a
there, yeah.
serious gap to close. Yeah, I guess those 4 braces aren't looking too bad now, huh? The 4
Awesome.
new build, new meta.
A tanky support. Oh man.
I mean, he does have 1,700 life. 1,700 life with a PK and Striders. So 2 non-stat items. That's not too shabby. How much gold do you invest? He has 2,000 gold invested in bracers.
2,000?
Yeah, 2,040 gold invested in in bracers.
Before that, he actually had another bracer, right? Because he had 5 bracers. And
Yeah, it was 5 bracers and Striders.
There's 2,500 gold in
2,500
bracers.
gold in bracers.
I've never seen any. Well, I have, but in like a troll game. But
Yeah.
I guess he thinks it's a troll game, so.
So Balphagore went Spell Shards, which synergizes with everything that he does, with the exception of his creeps. Flux does PK in. I don't know. I think he was just more or less trying to gain sight as well as going on. All the ultimates are off cooldown for the Hellborn team, and they end up getting a pick on the Warbeast. So, oh man, this is going to be really interesting as to what's going to go on here. And, okay, huge Bubbles ultimate. Flux ultimate does come out.
Tempest ultimate.
Pollywog wards are right in the middle of everybody. And waiting for the Hell on Newerth. Hell on Newerth does go out, wipes out 1 or 2 of them. Drunken Master falls. The other one's up is Pollywog, and he just gets Hag ultimate down. Flux is going to fall to the wards.
Oh my goodness.
Flux fell to the wards. All he had to do was walk the other direction, not down the ramp, and he would have lived. But they came and got what they wanted to get. They got the racks. They can rotate to another lane if they want. The entire team is dead. 3 of them do have buybacks. Pollywog does have a buyback. Bubbles has a buyback. Drunken Master has a buyback. Pollywog does use the buyback. That will be it for him. Okay, so Warbeast is back up, but he's not going to be able to defend this by himself. I guess they're just content letting both these fall.
Well, at this point, they can't really defend it, and because the Legion team has all their spells up and not their ultimates up.
But that's my point. Why, like, if you're the Hellborn team, why wouldn't you, as a Drunken Master in the Bubbles, use the buybacks right when Warbeast came up and go in? They don't have the ultimates anymore. Like, that would have been a perfect opportunity to, try to close that experience gap a little bit. I mean, you don't think at that point in time it's worth it using the buyback? They're down 2 racks now.
I think it is, but when you buy back, I guess in a sense, because 1 second, because if you buy back, it basically forces the enemies to.
This Warbeast might get this Hag bottom. We'll see.
Yeah.
Oh no, they're gonna turn this on this Warbeast. This Warbeast is dead. Behemoth does have the refresher, and he uses it. He uses it to kill old Warbeast. That was pretty nice.
But the Legion team is just looking really good right now. Pretty solid. They have the gold and experience lead right now, and the Hellborn team, all they need to do is just split play the whole time.
And that's it. That's the game. The Wallmill combo was real, man. It was real. So ultimately, who do we have with the most kills here? There had to be a tie somewhere. Let's see.
The Balphagore and the... Nope. It's actually Hag. 7 kills.
7 kills on the Hag.
Pollywog had 8 kills, so...
So handicapped. And the greatest thing about it was the Legion team was throwing up the concede vote 5 minutes before that team fight that they ended up winning. And you could ultimately say that it was almost a throw because there was no, they didn't need that Kong. The Hellborn team didn't need the Kong. And essentially, you're putting yourself in a position where you have to group in order to take Kong. You didn't have anybody on the Hellborn team that had the capability of doing it himself. So you're putting people in the pit to do that. It's like that right there, 100% turning point of the game. Complete team wipe. Nobody on the Legion team died, and your entire lead just evaporated.
The only issue I have with the Hellborn team is just their draft was that the last 2 picks they had picked up a Pollywog and Drunken Master because most likely the Hellborn team knew that they were playing this huge Wombo draft based off of the Flux and the Tempest picks. So I don't know why he didn't build to kind of like counter that team play.
Was the Drunken? I thought the Drunken Master was the 3rd pick.
I believe it was the last pick. The
first 3
picks.
It was Warbeast's first pick. I know that.
It was Warbeast, then a Bubbles, then the Andro.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's what it was. I'm almost positive about that.
Okay.
Then he picked up a Pollywog and a Drunken Master. I don't know where that came from.
The Pollywog played very well. You can't discount the Pollywog. Yes. I showed the damage tab, and at whatever point in the game that was, Pollywog was rolling. I mean, there was no doubt that Pollywog was rolling. He was the bulk of the damage in the game, and every exchange that they had that they came out successfully, it was either started or finished by him. I don't know. I just think that they attempted to take a Kongor that they didn't need, put themselves in a position for that Wombo combo to be executed the way that it was intended to be executed from the beginning of the game, and they essentially lost it for themselves. They had a huge lead, 10K or what was it, 15K gold, 10K experience at what was the time, like the 20-minute mark, or the 18-minute mark at that point in time. I mean, at 15 minutes, the Legion team was throwing concede. So I don't know, and just to put the cherry on top, did you notice that Balf picked up that mock?
I believe that was at the end of the game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, support Flux. Apparently, all you have to do is build 5 bracers and get a PK, and you're good to go.
But I really think that if the Hellborn team had like a prisoner, for instance, then they could easily stop their Wombo combo, or at least split them up.
Bubbles did a pretty good job of it early on in the game. Every attempt that they would have, it was always the Bubbles basically shell surfing in, ulting, and silencing, which would delay everything. And I mean, ideally, that's how they wanted. They wanted to start the fight. You don't want the Legion team to start the fight, and I guess they put it in the hands of the Legion team, and we saw how that turned out. You'd never want to let them start their combo off. You have to try to disrupt it before it starts. And they did a great job of it up until the 15-minute mark. So, I don't know. But it looks like, I think they're done. They're done, right?
I think they are, yeah. I know that half the players have school tomorrow, so I doubt they're playing more games.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully, maybe in the next couple nights, we'll have some more scrims. I mean, these are gold tier players. Most of these guys are mid 1800s, low 1900s. So, I mean, they're not quite diamond tier, but you do see some interesting games come out of the stuff. It's high level play. It's pretty entertaining. I appreciate you joining me for this cast, Chunks.
It's my pleasure.
All right, brother. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Hopefully we'll see you in the next couple days.